Alright guys, so figured out that Powderblue would be a good fit, and also was just making some notes about the other blueberries that we have, because we've kind of got a random variety. I think we might need to maybe trade or barter a couple for some other different things so that we have some other varieties, or be very strategic in how we do that. So we'll continue to work on that. Again, those don't really matter because they're kind of our miscellaneous, and I honestly could probably just plant those in one row together. But what we're gonna do is get these Powderblue in right next to the TifBlue. I'm gonna turn around here so y'all can see where we are right now. So this row here, all the way up and down, whoop, is TifBlue, and we're gonna put Powderblue here. And they both pollinate each other, and again, these are planted very close together, 2 feet apart. We're gonna do these, I think we've got 13, so I think that should give us enough. I gotta do my math to do about 4 feet apart. We'll kind of figure that out, make sure we're exactly right, and be able to fill up this row. But for now, let's get this soil amendment stuff and this clay. Dean Family Acres. Alright guys, so got the tractor out over here. We're going to try and do blueberry row number 2 a little bit differently. See if it might save us a little bit of leg work. So I'm going to show you exactly what we're doing here. Alright guys, so ignore the line to the right. That was a mismeasurement. So, got white lines all the way up to the tractor. We're gonna run the plow down the middle of it. Middle buster, potato plow. We're gonna run that down the middle of it and then come back with shovel and scoop that top layer off. If this ends up not working like I think it might, then the next time I think what we'll do is shovel the grass off first and then run the plow. And we don't want to run real deep. Blueberry roots don't go real deep, but we do need to break up some of this clay and incorporate it in some pine bark soil conditioner. I will recommend, if you have access to some composted pine bark that's already composted, you need to buy a couple scoops of that somewhere. Don't know of a place local to me that you can get it, but let's see how this goes. All right guys, so hopefully you're able to see how we did it this time. We trenched with the potato plow, middle buster. Ran us a fairly straight line. That middle buster I actually borrowed from a friend of mine, appreciate that. It is a little bit small for my tractor, so basically my adjustable arms on the bottom of the 3-point hitch, they're stuck. So if I could adjust them, I probably could make it fit, but I just unhook one arm, it works. I don't have anything that has to be that accurate, and one of these days I'll get those arms working. So let's see what we can do with this extra soil, and then I think we're gonna take off the rest of the grass in that 2-foot patch approximately all the way up, so it'll look just like this row in regards to that, but it'll have a trench down the middle, and we should be able to kind of mix up that soil. If you'll notice, soil down here is much nicer than that up there. That up there is pretty much straight clay, but hopefully this trench will also allow some water runoff. That's one thing I was a little worried about in regards to it just kind of soaking in. With this trench, it should run all the way down, and then if we want to extend it, we could extend it and let it run off down here. Something we might think about. Let's see how we can do this. so let's see if we can get these blueberries, at least the blueberry row number 2. Let's see if we can get it set, and hopefully we can get some blueberries in the ground. We'll see. Alright guys, so hopefully you were able to see us get the that row cleaned back out. We had done that previously by shovel and moving the sod off, and then just left it just like we did. Well, we didn't just leave the other blueberry row, we actually got those in. But the second one, we actually had everything ready, and I didn't put mulch or anything on it, and that grass just kept coming back. It's not as thick as the traditional lawn, but you really got to stay on top of it. Even the row over here that we've got the blueberries on in already, they definitely still have got grass trying to get in, so got to stay on top of it. Always want to weed. You don't have to be super particular, but honestly, some really good mulch for us. We're just using pine needles. That's pretty good for blueberries. It'd be much better to have some kind of pine bark mulch or something like that, but you know what, we got tons of pine needles, so that's what we use. But those have stayed pretty clean, except up here on the upper end where we didn't put anything. So now what we're going to do, I think, is actually go get a tiller. And if I had a traditional tiller that worked, like a rear tine or something, honestly, I just run it down, up and down through here a couple of times. But since I only have a tractor tiller, I think what I'm going to do is just back up, let it run just a little bit. We'll see exactly how this does. If it does all right and doesn't just throw all the dirt out and make us a mess, then I think that's what I'll do all the way down. Just kind of keep backing up till it, you know, work our way down. And then what I will do is incorporate some peat and some pine bark soil conditioner. So until then, y'all follow along. Alright guys, so figured out that Powderblue would be a good fit, and also was just making some notes about the other blueberries that we have, because we've kind of got a random variety. I think we might need to maybe trade or barter a couple for some other different things so that we have some other varieties, or be very strategic in how we do that. So we'll continue to work on that. Again, those don't really matter because they're kind of our miscellaneous, and I honestly could probably just plant those in one row together. But what we're gonna do is get these Powderblue in right next to the TifBlue. I'm gonna turn around here so y'all can see where we are right now. So this row here, all the way up and down, whoop, is TifBlue, and we're gonna put Powderblue here. And they both pollinate each other. And again, these are planted very close together, 2 feet apart. We're gonna do these, I think we've got 13, so I think that should give us enough. I gotta do my math to do about 4 feet apart. We'll kind of figure that out, make sure we're exactly right, and be able to fill up this row. But for now, let's get this soil amendment stuff and this clay. Alright guys, so we did some quick calculating, and it looks like we actually need 16 plants for this to be a full row, 4 feet apart. So we'll kind of figure out if we can get a little bit of wiggle room in there and move things around, and making sure we got enough room on both ends. But I think 4 feet will be absolutely perfect. I'm also okay with things being a little bit short. On this end we're a little bit short for the TifBlue. It's no problem. We can always pull plants, move them around, have a sucker. We can always pick up a couple more, especially if it's a common plant. So at least for these 2 rows, I would definitely like to keep them uniform, as in one whole row of the same thing. The next couple, we'll have to go from there. Y'all have to follow along and see exactly when we get those plants in the ground. It definitely won't be this video, but y'all can follow along and see exactly how we're growing and expanding the fruit that we have on our place here in upstate South Carolina. So follow along as we get the soil amended. As I mentioned before, just kind of move the camera here. Whoop. All right, as I mentioned before, we've got peat and pine bark soil conditioner. Usually do these in a 1 to 3 ratio. So this bag of peat, I'm hoping we'll do this whole row. Honestly, it probably won't, but we're gonna kind of see what the soil looks like and those amendments. And then don't forget, these are potted blueberries, so we are not just putting bare roots and sticking them in the ground. So the pots have the nutrients at least directly around those roots that it needs. I just want to amend this soil so that those roots do spread out. They don't just stay in a selected area and never kind of grow out, send up offshoots, that kind of thing. So on this row, unlike the other row when we were doing bare root, I am going to amend the whole row, not just kind of sections, and then kind of go over the whole row and amend it a little bit as we've done before. If you hadn't watched those videos or that video, check that out right here, because I think that those are super helpful, especially if you're getting bare root plants. Blueberries can be super finicky, so you just want to make sure you know what you're doing. If you're not sure, I would strongly encourage you to pot them up in at least a 1 gallon pot, and then kind of go from there in regards to how and what you're going to do next. So follow along as we get this stuff over here. Do it. All right. What I would do is I would grab you a couple plants and walk down here. Right.
that?
Basically, just before the pipes.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, just before is 9
9
feet. Yeah.
So basically, I got enough room for 4 foot, and then I'll have about a foot or 2. So that'll be about right. So I have enough room for about 2 more plants, right?
Yeah.
And still leaving a gap at the top. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just pine bark soil conditioner. So just basically, you see how thick? Yeah. See how thick I did it down here? So basically like that. And that's on top of the peat moss, but and then that way when you pick it up, it'll start coming out that hole. So you shake it and just walk it down. A little bit heavier, kind of shake it. Okay. See what I'm doing. I'll make it a little bigger. Knowing our luck, it'll probably take off. Alright, you ready? Alright. There you go.
Way less than this one. That's about a couple things out there.
I think almost don't have the entire bag in there.
It's basically just turning it over. So y'all see how it was, and just go all the way up, and we'll just turn it over and mix it in. And that peat we'll put up on the upper end where we were a little thin. But if it's really hard, it might be that the hole is actually near it. So look, watch. So kind of just find your spot. You don't have to dig. Like you're just gonna basically turn and just kind of like you're mixing a cake together. Alright guys, so now we got all the soil amended with some help from others, thank goodness. And now we're going to, where each one of these pots are, we offset it 2 feet at the end, and then we're going to do 4 feet every single, whoop, I can see that way, all the way up, and that'll leave a space for 2 more powder blue. So if we are able to kind of find 2 more powder blue, then we will put those on the upper end, and that'll give us a complete row of those. So what we're going to do now is go and dig a hole for each one of these. Shouldn't have to dig a whole lot, especially on this lower end where the soil is much better. So let's see what we can get done. So
It's like the perfect height.
that,
Yeah.
thanks. I don't know if I can do that. So if y'all can try and dig a hole at each one of those, and if you just look at the size of the pot, it needs to be about double the size of the pot.
Mine is not working, or I'm just not.
These have been in the pots for over a year. You see this one's got at least one main dominant root, so we'll kind of make that come out. And you want to put these level with your planting space. Dig the hole a little bit deep, backfill back in. If you do have some that are growing weird, you can always adjust that when you're planting like I just did. So typically this plant would go like this, but I'm going to kind of plant it up like that just a little bit, and that should be fine.